Hello and welcome to SCAN's Community Connection. I'm your host, Tom Hayes. In my day job, I'm Director of Customer and Community Relations for New Jersey Natural Gas. But for this program, I am your host. And I have a wonderful guest that you're going to love to meet today. Her name is Erika Hellstrom, and she's Executive Director of the Monmouth Museum. And Erika, we welcome you to the show. And our viewers, I'm sure, are all clapping for you and saying, we're happy to see you. So welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so now just tell me a little bit, how long have you been involved with the Monmouth Museum?
I started a few years ago as a consultant, and then in the past couple of months, jumped in as the executive director. So it's been an interesting time to kind of lead an organization, but we've been doing pretty good.
Right, that's great. And your location, you're housed on the property at Brookdale? Is that
correct? Yes.
Right. Yep. Okay. Very good. Which is great. So, Brookdale is our community college. It's open to the community, and it's wonderful that the Monmouth Museum is on that campus. Again, it's the People's College and the People's Museum, right?
That's it.
That's great. So, how did you come up with this concept for this program that you worked with to get a grant through the Impact 100 organization, which, by the way, we both can concur and agree is a phenomenal group. The women that started this organization and created this whole thing, it's just been phenomenal for our area. So kudos to the Impact 100 folks, really, for taking that through the roof with all that they do. But you were a recent recipient of one of their awards, correct?
Yes, yeah. And it's exciting in this time. Really what happened was, when you look at kind of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, they can sometimes get lost in the shuffle. And at the time of writing the grant, I already had the project in mind, but we were just kind of getting started with COVID. And so it was an interesting time to kind of think and delve into what that community is kind of going through in this really uncertain moment in time. Because typically they would have community outings and day hab programs, and it kind of all came to a halt. So at the time of writing it in March, I was thinking ahead a little bit that this might be something that sticks around with us for a while. And so it definitely helped to shape it. I have a background where I worked at an autism agency for 10 years, and I have a daughter with special needs. And so it's something that's always on my mind, this kind of vulnerable, at-risk population. And so when you pair that with seniors with disabilities, it kind of just compounds. And so the idea was just to be able to bring consistent smiles to their face every week, having a fine arts workshop, whether it's by Zoom or in person. And at the end, to have an exhibit that would really kind of share with the community and help to break societal perceptions of people with disabilities.
Right, which is great. It's really a phenomenal concept, and having been involved in the community myself for many years and with many nonprofits, you see those types of needs that are there. And again, during COVID, it's just everything is quadrupled in concern and effort and need and all that sort of thing. So kudos to you for really coming up with a great idea. And the name of this actual program is Making Art Possible, right? Is that?
Yes. Yep.
Do you use MAP as the kind of an acronym, or you just try to stick with Making Art Possible?
Yeah, I mean, we think of it as the map of Monmouth County. And so we do hope that, as we continue to grow and expand, that we'll be able to bring this to all sorts of individuals, agencies, schools, camps. So it's as big as we want it to be. We're just, in this process of piloting it, and it's been very rewarding.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Now, in terms of the museum itself, currently I believe it's closed, right, due to COVID, or you?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
what's currently going on at the museum, or what are you doing from that hat?
Yeah. So, I mean, really right now we're a small but mighty staff because of this, right? We have an amazing board and a friends organization that helps along the way. And so we've used this opportunity to renovate our Becker's Children's Wing. So the museum is 15,000 square feet, so it's pretty big. And so one of the wings really was in need of an update. And so this really allowed us the opportunity to have the museum shut to do these renovations at kind of a warp speed. So we've been finishing floors and redesigning exhibits. A lot of exciting things. An air and space exhibit is coming with
Wow.
NASA jumpsuits and artifacts from SpaceX. And, so we're really hoping to bring new life to the museum and hopefully inspire the community and the children of the community to grow up and really look into the STEM disciplines for careers. So science, technology, engineering, and math. So we've been pretty busy.
That's great. You're right. See, there's a lot of stories that kind of come out of COVID that aren't always negative, right? So there are some positives. Of course, we would never want this. We never want any of this to happen. We have to live with what we're dealt with, right? The cards we're dealt with. And in some cases like this, there are those opportunities that came out, like having your museum closed and at the opportune time to be able to do those upgrades and all. So that is a little bit of a bright side to that. So, that's great that you've been able to get that done. Now I'm even more excited to get back in there because I'm going to be looking for all those nice updates and all that.
Yes, we'll definitely have you.
Yes. And again, being right there at Brookdale is just such a convenient location for one throughout Monmouth. And well, actually the region, anybody can come to your museum, right? So that's great to have and a great location. Now, I did see on Instagram, there's a lot of activity at the museum in terms of virtual galleries and things like that.
Yes.
A little bit more about that?
Sure. I mean, and that again was born from the pandemic, right? When kind of March, April came around, we decided to start looking into doing virtual galleries. And for us, Instagram has definitely taken off. We've really had a lot of interaction and a nice community that has built there. So it's fun. And then with the virtual galleries, now we're doing a virtual main gallery and a virtual Nielsen gallery, which kind of replicates what we had in real life. So we've had free artist talks, which has been really fun using Zoom. And it allows us the opportunity to kind of go back and forth as we need to. So it's definitely something that will stay with us for a while. We have other plans to do an app with translations. And, when you look at what our post-COVID life will be, if we can think past that point, things will be different. It's not all hands-on. And so we're kind of rethinking some of those pieces and integrating that technology into our everyday museum life. So.
That's great. And it's smart. I know even at Scan here, we, have obviously gone virtual with all our classes with our seniors. And, there's some folks that were never able to come to Scan because they were homebound. Now, this opportunity to take virtual classes that we didn't really have in such depth before. Now, all of our programs are online and everything's available virtually. So we don't even have to stick with the restrictions of counties or any of that. Like, anybody that wants to learn and take care of these, take advantage of these services will have the opportunity, which I think is another wonderful, outcrop of what we've been forced to do with COVID. So
yeah, it's so great.
Yeah. So again, you can anticipate that this type of project, whether it's the MAP program or this program, we can continue in the future using some of the systems that you're putting in place now, right?
Right. And so for this particular grant, we're partnered with the Arc of Monmouth. And so we have 108 participants, mostly seniors, all adults, that we're able to work with. And the beauty of it is that we can go back and forth. So we can do Zoom, and maybe when restrictions are lifted and we deem it safe, we can bring them to the museum. And if we close down again, we can do the Zoom. And so it just allows us that little bit of balance that I think we're all going to have to find in our futures, no matter what field we're in, right? We just got to learn to adapt. So it should be really great.
Yeah, it is great. And again, myself, I work for a company where we're, in March last year, we were all sent home and you have to work from home. And I've been working home since. Hence, we're all in our homes doing even these interviews. Usually I'm at Scan in our beautiful studio with the big TV cameras and all that sort of thing doing these interviews. But, we have to adapt. I was amazed on how easily, my company made it for us to be at home. Go from being in the office one day to being at home the next, and you're up and running with your computers and stuff. It's like amazing. And I'm an old school kind of guy. So, working from home was not always I wasn't most comfortable with that, or having your team be able to work from home and when they need to, I would allow it, but it was on a limited basis. Now it's all opened up to all of us to be saying, hey, we can all function very well from home. So I agree with you that going forward, even for the business community, it's going to be a different future. It might be where people can work home continuously or several days a week, or the balance I think will work itself out pretty well. So
Yeah.
But that's great. And I think, again, for the wonderful clients at ARC, this is an amazing program for them. It's just, you just love to see anything that brings joy to people, and, and new abilities and opportunities is just great. And ARC has always been wonderful at, creating jobs for their clients. And, any event I've ever been to where they recognize those clients that they're so thrilled to have jobs and be working in the community. And they're such valuable and important employees for wherever they're placed and all that. So this is just providing more skill sets, I think, for their clients, that I think is just great. And,
Right.
it's really,
I think it's a lot about, breaking down perceptions and teaching tolerance, and especially having a daughter with special needs. I understand it from a different perspective, and I see, will my daughter need services like this in the future? So maybe I think about it a little bit more than the average person, but I want the average person to think about it, because nothing is going to change unless we value them as members of our community and see what they actually can bring to the table. And they're beautiful. They speak in different ways, and you can't always, kind of place it. You have to take the time to understand what they're saying, what they're expressing or making. But once you slow down and you tune into that, it's the most beautiful experience you'll have in life.
It's true. And, I think a lot of times people shy away from it out of more fear and being uncomfortable, not necessarily being mean or anything. They just don't understand it. So it's easier to sort of step away. Sometimes you're afraid to say the wrong thing or whatever it might be. But these are these channels of ways of getting more and more people to understand that, hey, strike up a conversation, or, work with folks, or, you have to tiptoe around a little bit at first to kind of understand, get your balance with it. But if you don't make an attempt to talk with people or understand what they're going through, you never will. And if you take that in and you learn, then chances are you can pass it on to family members, children, whoever it might be, and get more people around you to understand that, hey, this is the right thing to do. We should be embracing everybody, and being comfortable, is making ourselves as comfortable as we can. Right.
When we do the exhibit at the end with all of their artwork, and so each week is a different class. This coming week we're going to be doing Keith Haring. So we're kind of inspired by different artists, and then let them create in that style, whether it's geometric abstract paintings or pop art, or really kind of giving something special to them to learn. We also then hope that at the end with the exhibit that the community will come and support as well. So that would be a hope, is that everyone can kind of keep up with the program a little bit and see what's going on at the Monmouth Museum, and look out for that when it is time a year from now, when we're able to do that. So
that's great. Now, if folks wanted to reach out to you and learn more about your programs, or see if they could help out in some way or donate, whatever, what is the best contact information for you?
Sure. If they go to monmouthmuseum.org, we have a chat box right there, a contact us section. They can email art@monmouthmuseum.org, and it all comes to us. And we welcome any type of donation, volunteering. So there's a lot of things that we'd like to include the community in. So they just have to reach out.
That's great. That's wonderful. Well, it's been a wonderful opportunity to meet you, Erika, and talk to you about this wonderful program. Again, kudos to you, to the ARC, and of course to Impact 100 folks for really making this great program happen and get it out to the folks that need it. So again, congratulations to you. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And to our viewers, we appreciate your being with us. And if you'll stay tuned, we're going to be right back after this commercial. Thank you.